Welcome, Hornets. Today we're going to be taking a look at our homework. This is assignment 1 from the second semester. Individuals asked that I make videos to go through it. So let's go ahead and begin. In this, we're trying to do 1 through 41 odds only, and we are using the formulas that we have at the beginning of this section for antiderivatives, 5.1, and these formulas are found on page 282. So please be aware we'll be going back and forth unless you have them memorized. So we're going to start off with number 1. You'll notice number 1 in your book, you have the integration of negative 6 over x to the 4th dx equals 2 over x cubed plus c. And our goal is to show that this piece right here, when integrated, will equal this one. Now, in order to do the integration, we want to pull out the negative 6 using our rules, leaving us with x to the minus 4 dx. This now allows us to work with our general power rule, negative 6, and we're now going to take this by adding 1. So we have x to the minus 4th plus 1 divided by that negative 4 plus 1. And then we add c. This gives me negative 4, try that again. Negative 6 times x to the minus 3rd power divided by negative 3 plus c. The double negative rule applies, and I end up having 2x to the minus 3rd plus c, and that's 2 over x cubed plus c, and that checks. We're now going to go ahead and take a look at number 3. Number 3 says, solve the differential equation. They want you, in numbers 3 through 6, to find the general solution of the differential equation and then check your results by taking the derivative. So what we're going to do is take our first problem. dy dt is equal to 9t squared. Now, in order to solve this, we first start by separating our variables. This is important, and I recommend that you do this every time. If you forget to do this on the AP test, they will take off a significant amount of credit. We then integrate both sides by putting our integration symbol in front. And we're now going to go through process. So what we're going to do is take the derivative of dy, which is y. We move the 9 out in front, t squared dt, and now we begin process. 9, add 1 to our power, 2 plus 1, and divide by that new power, 2 plus 1. And don't forget to add c. We now simplify it. Y equals 9 divided by 3t cubed plus c, and that simplifies to y equals 3t cubed plus c. This is now the general form or general equation that we are looking for. Let's now check and see if we've got the correct answer. To do this, we're going to take the derivative d dt. We end up getting dy dt is equal to 9t squared, and our constant goes to 0. And as you can see from the original, that is the same, and therefore we have it correct. We now move to number 5, where we're doing the exact same thing. Let's go ahead and move on to number 7, shall we? Number 7 is the next group of problems, and they want us to go through a series of steps where we have to first rewrite our exponent from radical form into rational form, and then we're going to integrate and simplify. Here's our first problem. The integration of the cubed root of x dx. They want us to rewrite it first. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go the integration of x to the 1/3 power dx. This I can now integrate as x to the 1/3 plus 1 divided by 1/3 plus 1 plus c. I then end up with x to the 4/3 power, and I have 3/4 when I take the reciprocal for the denominator. Don't forget to add your plus c, and we now have our answer. This is the answer we're looking for. Now keep in mind that we can also write it as a radical, in which case it would be 3, and then we have x, and then the cubed root of x, 4 plus c. This is another way of writing our answer, and keep in mind that there's always going to be multiple ways, so we have to just be careful. For number 9, let's go ahead and take a look at number 9. They give us the integration of 1 over x square root x dx. Our first step is to recognize that this is really the integration of x, and we're looking at a 1/2 plus 1, and so we have 3/2 power, and it's a negative being in the denominator. This is now what we're going to integrate. We're now going to take this and say it's x to the negative 3/2 power plus 1 whole divided by negative 3/2 plus 1 whole plus c. We're now going to simplify it, and this is going to give me x to the minus 1/2 power, and I am dividing by negative 1/2 plus c. When I simplify this, I end up with negative 2 over the square root of x plus c. And this is now the answer that we're looking for number 9. Let's go ahead and take a look at number 11. Number 11, all the way up to number 31, is just having you do the basic integration process. So for example, in number 11, we're looking at x plus 7 dx. Now, according to our rules, we can integrate each piece separately. So I'm looking at x dx plus the integration of 7 dx. When I integrate, I end up getting x squared divided by 2 plus 7x plus c. And that's my answer. Remember, do one piece at a time. Going to number 13. Number 13, I have the integration of x to the 3/2 power. We're then looking at plus 2x and then plus 1 dx. Once again, we're working with our integration of each piece one at a time. So I have 2/5 x to the 5/2 power plus x squared plus x plus c. Now remember, you can always do your differentiation, and you'll see that you end up with the same answer. And this is our general answer that we are working with. Number 15. Now keep in mind at this point, we're just following the same basic process over and over and over again. And so you have to decide, as I put in my homework assignment notes, to do what you need. Don't do more than you need. If you do more than you need, you're just doing busy work, and that's not what I want. So this is going to go to 3/5 x to the 5/3 power plus c, and there's my answer. So you need to just keep doing these until you feel comfortable working with them. Now remember that as you keep going, they're going to ask you to do things like the trig functions, or they're going to ask you to do little things that might be tricky. Let's take a quick look at number 19 to get an example of that, and then we'll take a look at number 21, and then we'll look at number 23. Then we'll go ahead and take a look at our last couple of problems that we have, including our slope fields in part 2 of this. So let's look at number 19, where we have x plus 6 over the square root of x dx. We're going to simplify it first. So we're looking at x to the 1/2 power when I subtract dx plus 6 x to the minus 1/2 power dx. Notice how I've separated it into the two different pieces. Now I can work with 2/3 x to the 3/2 power, and now this is going to end up adding 1, and I have 6 divided by 2 x to the 1/2 power plus c. This is giving me 2/3. Afterward, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just double check my answer. 2/3 x to the 3/2 plus 3 x to the 1/2 power plus c. Now, if I've done this correctly, then I should end up being able to get the same answer. And I know I've done an error. The way I know I've done an error is this middle part right here, which I've purposefully done as an error. has been flipped. Remember, if I'm dividing by the new power, I'm dividing by 1/2, and that's going to force me to multiply by 2. This is one of our most common errors that people make, and I now end up getting the 12, and that's what I'm looking for. So notice, you want to make sure that you write this as x over the square root of x plus 6 over the square root of x, and then simplify your power so you get x, and it's now 1/2 plus 6x to the minus 1/2. And that's what you're going to work with as you separate it into the two parts. Now, the final one that I wanted to take a look at is number 21. And number 21 is simply showing that you have to simplify first. You have to multiply in order to do this. So we're going to do that first. This is giving us 3x squared. We have plus 3x. We have a minus 2x and a minus 2. This will simplify into 3x squared plus x minus 2. And this is now what we're going to integrate. When I integrate, I end up with 3/4 x to the 4th power plus 1/2 x squared minus 2x plus c. And this is now my answer. So please remember, you want to simplify things and you want to take it one step at a time. Please continue with these as you go through. The last few shouldn't be too bad. And I'm going to do the last few problems, including the slope fields, in part 2. Thank you very much. I hope this has helped. And please remember to hit like if you found it useful. Thank you very much, and please take care.